All right, friends, welcome back to the Get the Tech Out of Here YouTube channel. And today I'm going to walk you through exactly how I move my discovery calls from TidyCal into System's booking feature, because now that we have all of the features we need, like Google Calendar sync, as well as a minimum booking notice, I am ready to consolidate my tooling, because you all know by now that I am all about keeping it simple and consolidating our tools whenever we can, both to save not just money, because I already paid a one-time fee for TidyCal, but also to save headache, to keep everything in as few places as humanly possible so that there are less things that we need to connect and less integrations that we need to have, so that we're able to simplify our business, because simple equals success in my book. So we're going to walk through exactly how I'm going to create my discovery call event inside System. So we have it open here in TidyCal, and this Tech Freedom Discovery Call is the one that I'm going to create. But first, I want to make sure to move over my default availability. So if I go to default availability in TidyCal, and you can find something like this similar in Calendly or whatever calendar tool that you're using, I have weekly availability dates that are in my calendar right now. So you see Sunday through Thursday is when I do all of my meetings. And I'm going to just make sure that my availability in System matches that. So if you're in System's dashboard, CRM calendar is going to bring you to this page. So if CRM dropdown, go to your calendar and then click availability right here. And you'll see that there is a weekly availability there as well. So I've already got Sunday through Thursday kind of set up, and I'm just going to double check a few things. 3 to 7, we're going to move this a little bit earlier. So we'll do 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. All right. And then we've got 12 to 1 and 5:30 to 8:30 on Monday. How's that looking? I've actually got 1 to 2 on Mondays and 5 to 8. So we can just update all of these. 1 to 2 and 5 to 8. And then on Tuesdays, 12 to 1 and 4 to 4:30. So I've got 12 to 1, and then we're going to actually change this from 4 to 4:30 here. So again, not super exciting right now, but I'm just letting you watch over my shoulder as I do this migration so that you know exactly what it takes to get your migration done as well. So Wednesdays are 11:30 to 12 here, 11:30 to 12. You can tell I haven't used the System one yet because the schedule is out of date, but we're going to fix that now. And then I've got 3 to 3:30 and 5 to 8. So here we go. 3 to 3:30, add another time slot, and do 5 to 8 p.m. That's Wednesday. And then in Thursday, we've got 12 to 1 and 3:30. Well, 3:30 to 3:30. Let's remove that one. Let's just do 12 to 1 on Thursdays. So we've got 12 to 1 there already, and I'm going to remove this 5:30 to 8:30. And now my weekly availability is correct. And unlike TidyCal, you can actually add date-specific availability that is outside of this weekly availability, which is something I was trying to do the other day for an event and was not able to do that. So it's really cool that System lets you do that. And then you can also add date-specific unavailability if you know you're going to be on vacation. For me personally, I just like to put my vacation on my Google Calendar and make sure it's set as busy. So I'll spread it across an entire week and mark it as busy instead of free, because if you do an all-day event, it typically gets marked as like free availability in Google Calendar. So if you make like a full day or a full week event, and instead of free availability, mark it as busy availability, it'll automatically block off everything on your System calendar if you're out of town that week, because you have it synced with your Google Calendar. And if you don't have it synced with your Google Calendar yet, I've got a video for that as well. Check out the details in the comments below this video. But we're going to go ahead and save this now. And now our availability is matching. So let's go back to the actual event. Here we go. And the Tech Freedom Discovery Call is the one that I want to set up. So I'm going to come edit this event so I can make sure I get all of details correct. And we are going to create a new event inside System. I have some test ones here, but that's not what we're doing. So we're going to create a new event. It's going to be an individual event, and we're going to call it Tech Freedom Discovery Call. And this is actually my free 15-minute discovery call. And I can upload my headshot here somewhere. I've got it in here. Let's see if we can find it here. There we go. We can do that. Select. All right. Host name is Rucheli Berry. This is going to be an online meeting, and I've already connected my Zoom account to my system account. Again, I have a video on how to set up your Zoom and your Google Calendar in one video. That's on a previous video, so go ahead and check that one out if you still need. But I've already got my online meeting with my Zoom. Save that. And then for description, I don't have a description here because what I actually did for this was I put a description on the page itself. So this is the page where this booking calendar is going to live. But if we wanted to, we could add a whole description in there as well. And then I'm going to add this event to my Google Calendar, and it's going to go to my default, which is my business calendar. And we're going to go ahead and just set this up through the end of the year. There we go. Oh, no. I want it from today through the end of the year. Here we go. There we go. Now that's working. Through the end of the year. And we'll do apply. I think at some point, system is planning on letting us just say infinite, but for now you can go ahead and do that. And as I just discussed in our last video, we want to set this minimum notice period. For me, I like 24 hours. Some people do 12, some people do 48 hours, or a whole week. You could do change this to days if you wanted to and do a whole week. But I'm going to set 24 hours, and I'm going to tell it to use my global availability that we just configured on the previous page. Now, I also am going to say to start in 30-minute increments. Now, right now, you can see this is duration 15 minutes. And if I scroll down, I've got Zoom set, and then my availability, show time slots every 30 minutes in TidyCal is showing up here, start time increments of every 30 minutes in TidyCal. Now, daily limit right now, there's a bug that I've noticed that this is counting the number of calendar events you have on your entire calendar instead of the number of this type of event. So I'm going to leave this blank. Something I'm hoping that systems team will fix soon, but right now it's not a huge deal. So I don't really need that daily limit. Then if I go back to TidyCal, I'm going to look at our buffer times. So I've got a 0 buffer time before and after this. And I'm actually going to change that a little bit. I'm going to allow it to be a 0 buffer time before, but I really want to have at least 15 minutes after these events to take down some notes from that call. So I've got a 0 buffer time before the event and a 15-minute buffer time after the event. And then we are going to automatically show the time in the invitee time zone. And that is basically it for this event. So if I hit save and preview, it's not showing me the preview right now, which is a little bit odd, but we're just going to come out of here and let's take a look at this event. If I come back in here, hopefully this will work. Something funny going on with the save and preview here, but let's go ahead and add it to our actual page and see if this works the way that we wanted it to. So I've now got my Tech Freedom Discovery Call in here. And this, again, is the page that I'm going to be adding it to. So this is just a page on my main blog, my main website. And right now I've got a raw HTML block that is the embed code from TidyCal. So if we go ahead and preview this page, you'll see this is the embedded code from TidyCal. You see it's powered by TidyCal right there. And I can click and select whatever I need. Okay, so that is all there. For this one, we're going to go ahead and scroll down and drag a calendar block over, and I'm going to put it above the TidyCal one here. And you'll see that drops straight in there. Okay, so I might actually change the format of this a little bit just because I don't like seeing that stuff there. It's a little too much. But we're going to select our new Tech Freedom Discovery Call event. And then you can see that event detail information come up right over here. We're going to change this to 12-hour time, because I'm in the US and that's what we use. And then we can come down here and pick one of our colors for all of the highlights. So I like that pink one instead. And then let's go ahead and just take a look at this one real quick. So if I preview this now, this is the one that we just created inside system. So because I don't have the ability to remove this stuff here, the same way that I did in TidyCal, like you could just leave that blank and it would just remove it automatically. What I might do is I might actually go back and add this description stuff inside the event itself. So let's see what happens if I do that. So you are getting a raw behind the scenes over the shoulder of me doing this right now. This is not super planned. This is just you watching me make all of these changes myself. So we're gonna copy this and paste this in the event description. Okay, and then copy all of this stuff down here and paste in the event. And this paste is looking a little funky right now, so gotta delete some extra spaces that are getting added when I paste. Right? I don't have the pretty bullet points the way that we did over here, but let's just see how this ends up looking. Okay. Okay, so that's the description. And if I save this, all right, it's saying event updated, even though it's not showing us that preview, let's go ahead and refresh and see if all that information is going to show up for us here. If we come over here, I'm going to drag this above the 2 column just so I have it full width here. All right, and then let's preview this. So it is not showing me the event description here, which is kind of interesting that I can't add the event description here, but I also can't remove this stuff and put it where I want it. So we might have to get a little bit creative here with this, and that's fine. This is all part of the process. So what I might do, I'm going to remove this photo of me because it's in there. And then what I think I'll do is move this stuff up above this 2 column, right? And then we'll just get rid of the 2 column, I think, is what we'll do. Put this here. Okay. Maybe want to add some margin on the bottom of that. Okay. So let's check this preview out. So this is taking some of that information that we had before and then putting the calendar there below it. And I honestly think that that is good enough for me for now. You know, again, I'm more concerned about consolidating my tooling and not having a million different tools that I need to go update everything in than does this look as perfect as humanly possible. You all know by now that for me, done is better than perfect. I will always say it over and over again. So we're going to remove that HTML block from TidyCal right now. This whole row, I'm just going to get rid of it. Remove it, save this page. Okay. Now, the one thing that we see on the TidyCal event that we do not have on this event now is when I go to book one of these events and I hit next step, it's just asking me first name, last name, email, phone. Whereas in TidyCal, I actually had all sorts of questions that I was asking as a kind of pre-qualification. I don't want to just get on the phone with absolutely everyone. You need to be serious about actually working with me if we're going to get on the phone. So we're going to go ahead and go back to our event and make a couple of updates here. The first one I actually want to update is right here. Oh, no, it's actually not there. We're actually going to stay in the editor. I forgot about that. It's in a different place here. So we're going to come back to this calendar event, and then we are going to click on form. Okay, so now we see those different calendars, and we see those calendar fields, and we also see the ability to add more fields here. So we've got first name, last name, email, phone. Those are going to actually update the contact information, but then we can add questions. So this is where we're going to add those booking questions that we had before. Okay, so we're going to do this one and come back over here. And I can actually make this kind of the placeholder. And we'll make that mandatory. I'm going to also make, there we go. It's a little better. I think that's a little better. And we're going to need to adjust some of the padding and stuff here, and that is totally fine. We'll come back and do that in a little bit. So let's do that one, and that is mandatory. And then we're going to do this question. And you'll see that this one is actually going to be kind of a similar thing where it's really tell me about your business was the question. And then I had a whole bunch of stuff that can kind of be the placeholder, right? This is the placeholder, and this is also mandatory. Perfect. Add another question. There we go. That we can leave as the placeholder. That's mandatory too. Add another one. So again, this is a lot of questions, and I do that on purpose because I want to make sure people are actually serious before they spend my time. And then this we can select because this is all kind of the placeholder rather than the actual question itself. So we'll put that here, paste, mandatory. So how are we doing over here? We're getting there. All right, let's scroll down and add some more. Here we go. Leave this. And then question number 6. Let me know. Question number 7. So this in TidyCal I had as a radio. And we'll just type those out as the placeholder. Yes, no, if I'm sure it's a good fit. So we'll do that. And then let's add one more. That's it. That's the last one. We'll mark that as mandatory as well. And then if we scroll down, we can see all of our questions are there now before they can submit that form. Now, again, there's some stuff going on here with the field input and the questions not being aligned. So that's actually coming from this row. This row has padding here. So if I want, I can drop this padding down to 0, and it's going to allow those to be in alignment a little bit better there. The field here still is like skinnier than the other fields, which I don't particularly love, but it's not bothering me enough to like care that much about it. So I think we're good for now on this one. And I will just, here, did I have anything on that second piece of that? We'll just type some stuff out. All right, so we've got that there. I'm gonna make, can I make that one bigger? There we go. Let's do that one. Okay. All right. So now we've got step 1. We've got step 2. That's all good. And then there's also going to be a thank you that confirms it. And we can have a redirect if we want. I don't really want the redirect. This is totally fine right here. So that works great for me. And I'm going to hit save. So now if we go ahead and we look at this page again, we will see the changes we made here. And then we've got our system.io form with no TidyCal form underneath because we removed it. And then you'll see that we've got options here. And when you click next step, you've got this whole form to fill out before you can submit it. Okay, so this is now officially done, and my 15-minute calls are now officially going through system.io instead of through TidyCal, which is super exciting. So that is done and ready to go. And then there's other things that we can do in terms of paid events and all sorts of interesting things that we're going to do in a future one where I'm going to show you how I can offer my strategy call at 3 different prices: full price, half off for my members, and then for free for certain use cases where it's like part of an affiliate plan or something like that. We're going to go over how to do one type of event at 3 different price points in a future video. Hope you enjoyed this and found it helpful. I will see you again soon.